Good morning, Natasha. How are you today? I thought we would read a story together. So, we are going to read Finding Otis. Oh, I don't think you'll be too bored. Just stick with me for a little bit, okay? Finding Otis. Here we go. Finding Otis. The mystery of it all. Oh, I know. You might as well just relax. Just relax. It was last Thursday when Grant and I passed him after coming back from having breakfast at the Tacoma Diner. We didn't know him, so we didn't stop when we saw him in our neighbor's yard. When he came into our field the next day, that's when we got involved. Grant called me out of the kitchen to come outside to see Dog because he didn't move. He sat and watched us. We stood and watched him. He sat and watched us, and we stood and watched him. He didn't move. He appears to be a sweet, calm bloodhound who is lost. First things first, I ran back to the farmhouse to get some dog food and water for him. He was hungry, thirsty, and ate it all up. I ran and got more food for him. He ate it all up. He came in closer to where I was because the food I gave him communicated safety. Then I named this dog Gentle Soul because this is how he behaved. He had to have learned this from the loving family who gave him this beautiful, tagless, leather halter he was wearing. This dog needs to find shelter before night, and the cold gets to him. I needed to help him find a place. This dog's genuine nature was giving me a chance to be genuine, and I knew I had to help this dog. Grant secured him snugly in the pickup so I could drive into town without him falling off this moving vehicle and bring him into our vet clinic for help. The vet assistant saw Gentle Soul right away and agreed that he's a beautiful dog. Maybe 6 years old, but with no chip to help us find out anything more about him. He asked the vet if any human were missing a dog, but the vet hadn't heard of anyone, and that's all the support they could give me. I thanked JC for his time and went to Pizza Hut to order pizza for Grant and the men working on getting Grant's workshop up before winter. While the pizza was cooking, I had time to think about what I should do. There were no shelters in town, and soon it would be dark, cold, and the weekend. I could abandon Gentle Soul or take him back home with me. Natasha, what do you think I did? Huh? What do you think I did? Chapter 2, Terms of Engagement. Grant was happy to have the pizzas, but not Gentle Soul. Hadn't I dropped him off already for someone else's concern? But he knows when to be quiet when something is important to me, and this was important to me. I don't know why, but I knew it was up to me to get Gentle Soul back to his home. Grant went out to his building to eat his pizza, and I brought our 2 dogs outside to play with Gentle Soul. A little bit later, Grant came to tell me that he was going to get some hay in town so he could make Gentle Soul a nice bed for the night. That was nice of Grant, wasn't it? Yes, it was. When Grant came back, we put styrofoam on the newly laid cement floor and then the hay on top of it. We put boards up with a brown tarp over them to make a comfortable, warm home for Gentle Soul, complete with water and food bowls. When we put him in his new home, he was asleep within minutes. I was shocked and horrified the next day when I saw his door open and no Gentle Soul. He was there early in the morning when I fed and took him for a walk before running errands with Grant and Enid. How did his door get open? Grant said he opened his door before we left to run errands, so Gentle Soul could come and go as he pleased. Come and go as he pleased? The weather wasn't summer. It was the beginning of Arctic cold spell, and this was serious for a dog to be roaming around the fields in this cold weather. Now I would never know what happened to him. It's a farm. This is what happens on a farm. If he comes back, he comes back, Grant said in his defense. But this doesn't make sense to me. I am pissed. My blood was boiling over, and I was so mad I took off in the pickup to look for Gentle Soul. No use. I let him down and felt shame and sadness around not helping Gentle Soul get back home. How was he going to find his family now? What would happen to you, Natasha, if you didn't have your family, huh? I know. It's a dilemma, isn't it? Isn't it a dilemma? You're such a good doggy and you have such a nice home. Grant kept a lookout for him till he stopped working in his workshop late into the night, but no sign of Gentle Soul, so he left the shop open with his home in it just in case. Just in case. You never know, huh? Chapter 3. Grieving is part of the mystery. Grieving is a place that has no time. Minutes seem like hours and days like lifetimes. My heart was breaking. Nowhere to turn but prayer for Gentle Soul and his family. Please, God, help him survive the cold and find his family for him. My prayer became my mantra and my focus as I fell asleep. In the middle of the night, it snowed, cold under the down blanket. I let myself crumble into a million pieces in sadness and pain as I fell into a deep sleep for the night. Why did he come to me? Why didn't Grant close his door? Why didn't he come back? Grant's alarm woke me up from a wonderful dream I was having about Gentle Soul, who was back with his family. I heard a young man's voice telling me that Gentle Soul was fine. He's love, and love only dies to be reborn. Light was pulsing in and around me, and I thought, who was this guy? God? Grant turned off his alarm and went to sleep. I tossed and turned but couldn't sleep, so I got up to dress. Pearl had to go out, so I headed out towards Gentle Soul's home. I don't know why I headed out that way. A hunch or something more? I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me, Natasha, but as I got closer and closer to Gentle Soul's home, both Pearl and I saw a form in this home, and it was Gentle Soul. That's right, it was Gentle Soul. Gentle Soul was back. Can you believe that? I did a happy dance and would have woken all the neighbors if we had more of them around us. I was so happy to see him safe and alive. I hugged him, thanked him for coming back, thanked God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have another chance, we have another chance. I was delirious in the head. I was, but my heart was wide open in gratitude. Such a great space for feeling the awesome amazingness of this mysterious life we live. Life is utterly amazing, don't you think? I think so. Chapter 4, Bonding. Pearl and I led Gentle Soul with his halter into our kitchen where Mason and the cats were sleeping. Gentle Soul needed no coaxing to stay in our hearts and home. No ifs, ands, or buts. Forever, if need be. God had given us a second chance to help this Gentle Soul, and we were going to do it. When Grant woke up and saw all three dogs sleeping in the kitchen, he rubbed his eyes and did pretty much what I did when I saw Gentle Soul again. We were giggly and giddy as we made a complete plan on how to help this Gentle Soul. Throughout the day, we bonded and enjoyed our time together. It was fun to see the dogs and cats take to Gentle Soul. We decided that if his family didn't show up, we'd adopt him and bring him into our family. So, that was a good plan, don't you think? I think so. Monday, found. On Monday, we ate breakfast at Tacoma Diner and asked Deb if she could put the flyer up on their door and ask people if they knew of a missing dog. We went into Alva and put flyers up in stores, the other vet clinic, and an ad in the paper with Gentle Soul's picture. When we got back to the farm, Grant went back to building his building, and I settled down in the kitchen to write with Gentle Soul, Pearl, and Mason. Hey, Natasha, guess what? You'd like the farm too. You'd like the farm too, babe. Yeah, guess what? I was cleaning the living room early in the afternoon when I got an incoming call from a South Carolina phone number. I answered hello. A hesitant, reticent woman on the other end asked me if I had a dog that had a leather halter on him. I said yes, and we cried out together as we realized we were talking about the same dog. So the rest of the story goes like this. Gentle Soul had broken away on a Thursday morning when Grant and I first saw him. Slow. That's what she said from when he was a puppy. And their other dog back then had taken a bite out of the skull. Diane and Roger thought Gentle Soul was going to die, but he didn't. His head is a different shape because he's missing part of his skull. He had a brain injury. They're working as crane operators on a gas and oil plant and have come from South Carolina, eventually moving closer to their daughter and grandkids in North Carolina. They had gotten as far as their minister helping them with a prayer chain. I could barely get out the words to ask her what his name was and how old he was as I was beginning to cry now. His name is Otis, she replied, and he's 4 years old. Otis is a perfect name for him, I thought. They'd be by after work, and I told them where to find us. They didn't live too far from the Tacoma Diner. I hung up and let my crying cry because I felt relief that I did what I was supposed to do. I ran outside crying and telling Grant that Gentle Soul, Otis, has parents. I went back to the kitchen and cried for the better part of the afternoon, saying goodbye to Otis. Hey, are you still with me? Hey, Natasha, you still with me, babe? You dreaming doggy thoughts? I know. Just hang in there with me. Chapter 6. And now the mystery gets explained. I saw the sun set and went outside to be with Grant. Diane and her husband pulled up and got out of the truck. Anxiously, Diane came with me into the kitchen while the men talked outside. We walked into the warm kitchen, and Otis was sleeping on his pad, groggy from sleep. It took Otis a few minutes to recognize his mom, but when he did, there was joy that they had found each other again. Diane held up some folded money for me and tried to put it in my hand. I backed away and told her to put it away. I couldn't take money for what I knew God and my heart had wanted me to do. I was supposed to find Otis, love him, and get him back to his family. I went through all the details of the past few days. It was a miracle that he found his way back to our home Saturday night. As Diane confirmed, he didn't have any logical or directional abilities since the bite to his skull. Chit-chatting, finding out about each other. Money was good, so this was their second year in Oklahoma. They would go home in May, hopefully with enough money to build a home close to their daughter and grandkids in North Carolina. Dead silence. Dead silence, Natasha. Can you believe this? Hey, Natasha? Yeah? You don't have to look at me every time, but this is important, okay? Then, in a quiet, sad sort of way, she said they also had a son who was 22 years old, but he had been killed by a drunk driver 3 months ago. It was the vet assistant at the other vet clinic in town who recognized Otis from the flyer. Otis had been boarded there when they had to go to their son's funeral back home. Diane looked at me and asked, "Do you think my son helped us find Otis?" So Natasha, what do you think I told her? What do you think I told her, huh? I said, and this is what I said, Natasha. I looked at her in only the way another mother can and nodded. Knowing the worry and trouble we go through to keep our children safe and out of harm's way, losing a child at any age is painful. And now I knew why I felt so strongly about helping Gentle Soul find his way back home. It would have been too much if Diane and Roger had lost Otis too. I told her the dream I had. I forced my tears to hold until they left to go back to their home. Then I bawled and got out the story to Grant. I went into the kitchen where both cats and dogs were laying down, as if nothing unusual had happened. But I had been changed forever because I opened my heart and took a risk to care. The end. The epilogue is: Heart is a gentle, courageous soul that waits for me to move into action. Mind tries to convince me otherwise with an unstoppable fear that works to keep me contained in its invisible box with imaginary walls, windows, and doors to my heart, so my heart can't escape. My heart escapes when I feel it, and mine moves out of the way of her truth, wisdom, and love. I am so much more than who I thought I was when heart helps me along. No amount of money or fame can take this away from what truly matters to me and my right heart memories. And that's it, Natasha. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. This is why I decided I had to write people's stories, and maybe doggy stories too, because this is what makes our life really wonderful. Thank you, Natasha. I love you.